So it's my pleasure to introduce Lindsay Gray, who is an Anishinaabe Kwe from Aamjiwnaang.
Hani bonjour, Anishna. Lindsay Gray Ndishnakas Makwan Dodem, Aamjiwnaang Donjaba Makwan. So that was Ojibwe. That is my introduction, but I simply said, hi, hello, how are you? Lindsay Gray is my name. Bear Clan is my clan. Aamjiwnaang is my home. Okay, so I was asked to talk to you about, I guess, what it's like being from Aamjiwnaang, a frontline community that is, I guess I'll just go into that, but I just wanted to do a quick speak about the chapter in the book that is written about Chemical Valley is very well written and has a lot of good information in it. So if you can buy the book and read it, I really suggest it. It has awesome facts and it really captures Chemical Valley. Okay. Aamjiwnaang is a small reserve in southern Ontario, but also western Ontario. It is surrounded by 63 industrial facilities in the 25-kilometer radius. Everything around you in Aamjiwnaang is polluted. The air, the sky by light pollution, the soil, the water, and even our bodies from Aamjiwnaang. So to talk a little bit about that, because people don't know what I mean by our bodies are polluted, they have found banned chemicals in our blood system, our bloodstreams. Mercury has been found in our hair. And by these, it affects our health. So people in my community are sick. So to go into that, our birth ratio is 2 girls for every 1 boy, and I believe we are the only people in the world that has that skewed birth ratio. Elevations in miscarriage rates have been happening more and more over the years, and I think there's even a statistic where we're estimated to live till we're 50 years old. And so growing up and living there, you have issues with eczema. Eczema is very prominent, where you get rashes on your skin and it really dries up, or you get asthma. So a lot of kids in Aamjiwnaang have to constantly use puffers to be able to breathe properly. Okay, so I want to try something new with you guys that I've never done while speaking. Okay, so now, if you will, picture neighbors that are constantly making noise, always have their lights on, who smell bad, who lie to your face, and that are national, that are around and beside a lot of Indigenous communities and people. So this is very prominent for them to be around Indigenous people. Well, those are Aamjiwnaang's neighbors. We are a frontline community. So to speak a little bit about from what I said, noise is always there. If you live near the plants, there's always a low buzz that you can hear, and it's never off, not during holidays, not while you're sleeping. It's just always constant and on. And then to the extreme, there are sirens. Sirens everywhere. Outside the community, inside the community, and inside the graveyard, surrounded by Suncor. So these sirens can alert you or instruct you to either go inside your house, shut all your windows and doors, don't let any air in, or they can alert you to look for where the wind direction is coming from and to not head that way. And the very, very worst thing is to evacuate. That's how bad it can get. I have been evacuated from my home more than once in my lifetime, and I'm 19. But they can also mean that it's just 12 o'clock on Monday, so they're very that's just, they're we're practicing our systems kind of thing. So if you hear the siren, you're like, okay, it's Monday, 12 o'clock, it's lunchtime. So to continue with talking about our neighbors, they have all these signs and security saying no trespassing. Everywhere you go around their fencing, there is no trespassing. If you drive too slow or take pictures, their security will come and talk to you to protect the plants. But yet they have vapor clouds of unknown chemicals floating above our community. You can't really tell whether you're looking at a cloud or a vapor that is coming from their smokestacks, which actually, it's common if you ask the children of Aamjiwnaang what smokestacks are or what anything is in the facilities, and they usually come up with really cool things, smokestacks to me, which look like giant cigarettes, and they're very, very tall. They're like skyscrapers, and they produce these vapors. So to children in Aamjiwnaang, they're usually known as cloud makers, because we haven't learned yet, well, they haven't learned, their children, that clouds are water, but that is a vapor with unknown chemicals in it. So this leads to my people having polluted soil. So we have had notices come out in the spring or summertime where they say you can't garden, so we can't produce our own food. So this leads to medicines in our community not being able to use, our cedar, our sage, sweetgrass, tobacco if we grow some, are polluted. And those are what we use for ceremonies. Those are what we give thanks. Cedar is known as for smudging to protect. But we can't use that because it's polluted, or you know what, a lot of times we do use it because those are the medicines that we grow and that were given to us from the Creator. Our animals for hunting are polluted. Our fish are polluted. Even though we are fishermen, our known area, we are known as fishermen. So we still will fish. We even have a fishing derby in the summer where people might go on a spree of catching fish. And even though we have found tumors in our fish. But we have no other choice. Aamjiwnaang is our home. That's where we want to live and where we want to produce our food and where we want to hunt and gather. So now I'm going to go into the water. We have signs around our creek and a pond called Aamjiwnaang. And so these water sources are very important to us, and they go all through the community, or they're just located in the community, and those are that's where we gather sometimes, like Calford Creek you gather for the powwow. Aamjiwnaang, you can gather there, there's a nice space. But they have signs all around them that say, keep out. These waters can cause serious illness. Do you guys know what that's like to not be able to touch the water in your community? It really sucks. Now, things have happened in Aamjiwnaang that would really make you say, what? We have a park outside of Aamjiwnaang that's called Asbestos Park. It was a community-based park where people have organized, gone door to door to be able to afford their white children a nice park to play on. And so we have recently found out that this park is highly contaminated with asbestos and lead. The parts of the park are fenced off and you cannot go near it. So the children's park that the community of Sarnia have worked very hard to get is fenced off and is known with asbestos, even though kids before would play on it. And also, it's kind of ironic, in that park there is a vigil for victims of Chemical Valley, and that's fenced off from asbestos. So there's also this thing that happened in around the 1980s that is called The Blob. And that is actually a horror movie name. I've watched it, it's pretty funny. But The Blob was a mixture of chemicals that kept coming up from the ground or near the water, and no one knew what it was. I don't even think they still know what it is, and they can't stop it. There's also been animal mutations, and I'm serious about that. There has been mutated puppies. The mother dog was pregnant with her puppies, and she drank from Telford Creek. And when she gave birth to those puppies, they were mutated. They had heads shaped like potatoes, some organs were on the outside, and they couldn't breathe. They died. And that hasn't been the only animal mutations that have happened in Aamjiwnaang, but they do happen, and it's from the pollution in the land and the water. Also, this story has happened, but I think it happened last year or the year before. But children at the daycare had to go to the emergency room, and the daycare is located in the center of Aamjiwnaang. It used to be on the outside, close to a Lanxess refinery, but we had to move it inside the community more. And so all these children had to go to the emergency room with bloodshot eyes and rashes all over them. And the emergency room just thought they all caught the same thing. They didn't know what to say or how to diagnose them. But that day there was a release and sirens were going off. So we know that those things that happened to those children, those daycare children, happened because of that release. Spills and releases are common in Aamjiwnaang. They're very common. They happen even once a week. So just to give you guys a realization of these aren't something that happen every so often. It can be a small benzene leak kind of thing once a week. Aamjiwnaang is an example of environmental racism. And this has happened with a lot of Indigenous communities. That's what I mean. Our neighbors are common to other Indigenous communities, like in Alberta, or Indigenous communities around the world. So what I wanted to say is resistance is happening in Chemical Valley, Line 9, and to shut down the Tarsands. It is false to say that we have jobs in Chemical Valley, but we can create jobs by cleaning it up. And with scientists checking on what's in the land or what's in the water, or what they are producing, because us in Aamjiwnaang, we have no clue what most of these companies spill out or release or just dump. We have no clue. A lot of us know that there's some benzene, I can't even name all the chemicals, but we really don't know what these 63 industrial facilities make or release. So again, I just want to emphasize this chapter in the book has a lot of great information. I really suggest you read it. It's actually how I kind of wrote the speech based off of it. So next steps for Aamjiwnaang are our group ASAP. It's Aamjiwnaang and Sarnia Against Pipelines. We have a water restoration project where we're in the beginning stages of it right now, and it's a grassroots project. This is simply, we want to test the waters because we don't have any information of what's in our waters. We just know that the signs say it can cause us serious illnesses. So we want to be able to make enough money to be able to test what's in these waters, like Inky Jig and Telford Creek, and then see if we can restore it. This is our mother we're supposed to be taking care of. Women are known to take care of the water. We want to be able to do that, but we have to know what's in our water first and what the next steps are. Also, we have a large-scale toxic tour coming up in the summer. So toxic tours are where we take people from all over and we gather and we take them through a walk through Chemical Valley. It's like the Healing Walk, where you walk through the tar sands, but we're going to have it with Chemical Valley, and we want it to be very large-scale. So we're doing funding right now and planning it. Okay, so one of my last things I want to say, the knowledge you have gained here today from these people, us speakers and myself, is a privilege. Not many people know this information, and some people can't get this information. So I really want to ask you to do more solidarity work or more work with 9/9 and shutting down the tar sands or helping frontline communities. And this is the reason why we take on these big projects like restoring the land and getting people out to see Chemical Valley, is because the lack of knowledge we have. But we know that these oil companies will continue unless we take direct action and take back the land. Okay, so we have a group in Aamjiwnaang that we use a lot for solidarity work and our own work. It's called ASAP. So we have a website, a Twitter account, a Facebook page, all so that we can keep people updated and be able to do work on.
Do you want to spell that out?
ASAP, Aamjiwnaang and Sarnia Against Pipelines. Aamjiwnaang is Aamjiwnaang. Yeah, we really need help with these next projects. So that's what I'm going to ask of you. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.